pretty sure rumble fog is a byproduct of Taco Bell. Are there humanoids visible in a rumble fog? Yeah, there could be. In fact, maybe that's what stirs up the humanoids in some way. Yeah, fart jerks, yo. I'm here all week. Tell you what, get her done. So the ship is caught in a rumble fog, causing a potential hazard of sinking. As well, several several vaporoids manifest on the deck and begin to attack the crew trying to save the ship. How about that? Flat tries the fish. You two are playing off each other. So not only now have we set this epic scene, right? In our session 1, you know, you're describing, okay, you're on the ship and you're describing the water and the pyramid and how a cloud sucked down into it and it flows over, and then the call goes out, everyone brace for a rumble fog, and then it causes a bit of a skill challenge, and of course then some of these vaporoids manifest out of this fog and begin just sort of attacking the ship or the crew or whatever is close. And so now we have a big kind of an in media res. That term is, you know, if you've seen a movie and it opens up with a shootout or an action scene, you're like, I haven't even met the characters. What's going on? That is in media res. And we are starting out with something similar to that. Oh, it's a great big scene. Oh, you know, the bright, you know, the bright sky and everything. It's just, and then all of this happens at once, and it's a good test for your level 1 characters. And then we say, okay, so we know we've introduced some elements, and we want to end this campaign. You know, what is the big fight? The big fight. This is the story of a girl. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. She looks so sad in photographs, but I absolutely loves it when she smiles. This is the big fight against the thief who stole the this is why we keep this open. Cup, goblet, vessel. Stein, chalice. Ooh, a cannikin, huh? A small can or drinking cup, a small wooden bucket. Goblet, grail, potion, stein, taster, teacup, tumbler, a wessel or a vessel, depending. A demitas. A small cup for serving strong black coffee after dinner. That is very specific. I didn't even know something like that existed. The coffee contained in such a cup. French, literally half a cup. Okay. Nothing but some ice cream and a demi-tasse for me, declared Ronnie. She dropped the lump of sugar in her demi-tasse and threw her host a bright smile across the table. Oh, is it her? Okay. It's been a while. How many days in the year? Yeah, she woke up with hope, but she only found tears. Yeah, Santa's got it. And I can be so insincere. They try to twist its purpose in order to bring the vaporoids into flesh. Ooh. Oh, so how about this, Flat Hat? Un joli demi-tasse. Je voudrais un demi-tasse. This is the big fight against the thief who stole the... I mean, we could probably use saline. Saliferous. Ooh, saliferous. Okay. This is what we got. Who stole the saliferous chalice in order to manifest the vaporoids into salt golems for his own purposes. Thief who stole the thing and broke the thing and caused trouble because he was upset. Takes place at the peak of the pyramid. Takes place at the peak of the pyramid and is a fight against the thief who uses solenoids, not to be confused with solenoids. Uses solenoids as minions for support and sneak attack help. Alright. We have the opening scene and we have the ending scene, and they're both connected. The opening scene begins with vaporoids and ends with vaporoids, and in a sense the pyramid itself. And in fact, if we want a stage hazard, maybe it looks like there's a storm on the horizon, and or they're even fighting as in the process of a storm being sucked down through the pyramid, and so they're having to fight in heavy wind, in rain, in obscure fog. And as you're fighting a thief loves those abilities to be able to hide and move around and to really get in and shank your kidneys, all the while trying to mitigate people who might use ranged weapons or magic because of the obscuring fog, making for not just a fun physical fight, but a great stage hazard as well. Well, maybe, well, look, Zolarpie, maybe something happened at the peak of the pyramid's not there anymore. And this is where the midpoint method comes into play. Well, yeah, it could be like a ziggurat flat hat, too. So we have our beginning and we have our end. Now I want to throw this out to you. How do we go from the beginning scene to the end scene? What is our midpoint, right? We have a group of people who are together because they want to make some money. One of them promised, hey, I can get us a job. We'll work on this ship. So now what is our midpoint between the beginning and the end? You're all about morals. Perhaps the thief stole the chalice so he could use it to create fog so he could steal food for his family. Then he became too powerful and became a villain. So it started with an innocent enough, idea, you know, to grab the core of the storm catcher or something like that. Could the midpoint be that moral conundrum that Darkwolf threw out? They need the help of Kame's mentor, who is in jail. she doesn't like him nor want him, but Chalet has taken a shine to him, and he actually has the skills to break into the pyramid. It doesn't have to be original Fnog. If you're sitting down playing the game, this is your game. I mean, are you sitting down at a D&D game and are you judging everything that's happening as whether or not it's completely original compared to the greater body of work in fantasy and sci-fi? Maybe the mentor is accused of taking part in the theft? No, that could be as well. Zolarpie says a midpoint they reach the city of Heavensigh. If that's the case, if they just reach the city itself at the midpoint, that means we're going to have a lot of content between the beginning and the midpoint. And where's it going to take place? Because we haven't really defined anything else. There's not too much else out there in the desert. But what we can do, let's blend your idea, Pi, in with perhaps Fnog's idea as well. Okay. So here, we have the beginning, we have the middle, and we have the end of a campaign. Awesome. We have level 1, 11, and 20. Or 19, if you like 10 and 19, because 20, do you often play past 20? How often do you even reach 20? Anyway. So now we say, okay, this is the midpoint method. But it doesn't just exist in between the beginning and the end. Because now, let's go back, right? We started, we had a beginning, we had an end. Now we have a middle, and we went through the story. Now ask yourself, how do we get, what's the midpoint between the starting scene and the midpoint of the story? All right, Genly, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of this, and thank you again for your subscription. That means an awful lot to me, and I will continue to earn your time and your trust, and whatever you and others decide to contribute to the channel. Do the heroes succeed in defending the ship, or perhaps they crash regardless of their success? And that's part of the story. That could be. Maybe they wash up adrift someplace. And we can, and we'll get to that too, Fnog. I don't mind at all the ideas you're throwing out, and I think we can work them in. Though I want to make sure I can highlight this different method of thinking about a story. So put them out there. By all means, put them out there. But we will get to it in an order as you see how we're building the story. I hope that makes sense. I'm not poo-pooing your ideas at all. So as we think, okay, how do you go from this fight on a ship? They need the help of Kame's mentor. Well, at some point in time, then they need Kame's mentor because they learned that maybe this chalice exists and they need help getting in. So something is going to have to occur to them. Maybe this is the realization of the heart of the pyramid and why it is important to protect it from others. They learned who are after it. Okay, now let's go back. Starting scene. Midpoint, starting midpoint 1, midpoint. And then we have ending midpoint 1. How do we get from Kame's mentor into the ending scene? It seems somewhat easy, right? Kame's mentor breaks into the pyramid and begins the dungeon crawl. Okay, maybe that makes sense, right? I wasn't paying too much attention to the whole plan. No, you're fine, Fanog. What I'm doing is we're going and we're going to wedge in a bunch of middle points to make a congruent story that way. Because the point of me doing it this way, some people might have trouble with the linear style of thinking. Kind of like what you're practicing, and there's nothing wrong with it. And so using this midpoint method is a good way to, it forces you to ask yourself a question. Well, how did we arrive here? Or what step happens before and after something else? Only one cleric left in town. He's killing himself trying to magic up enough water for everyone. Whew, yeah, he would be, wouldn't he, Flat Hat? So let's come back over here. Starting midpoint. I mean, if we want to go back and renumber it, if this is too confusing, that's fine too. So how do we get from the opening scene to the realization of the heart of the pyramid and why it's important? Well, this could be then kind of like what was offered by Zolarpie. They have explored and interacted more with the city of Heavensigh after returning from their ship duties. Ah, okay. So, party's on a ship. They've explored and interacted more in the city of Heavensigh. Realization of the heart of the pyramid and why it's important. Now we get to the midpoint. Now let's go over here. Ending midpoint 2. How do we get from the help of Kame's mentor to he breaks them into the pyramid? That one seems a little easy, right? Breakout heist to free the mentor. Sometimes these points only need a sentence as a placeholder, as something conceptual. Okay, so now, then, after being broken out, he goes into the pyramid, and then at some point in time, there's actually this thief who stole the Sulliferous Chalice, and then we have the big fight. Woo. Alright, now let's go back again and say, alright, well, hang on. Let's flank our points. Starting midpoint 3. How do we get from the realization of the heart of the pyramid and why it's important to protect it from others they learned who are after it to they need the help of Kame's mentor? If they learn about the chalice, maybe this is where they first get introduced. A local, somewhat infamous rogue in town has found out about the relic after the party has, and is intending to go after it for his own reasons. And those reasons could have been like what was suggested over here in chat. Look, maybe this guy, you know, he's a whatever, a petty thief. He's Aladdin, gotta steal to eat, gotta eat to live. Tell you more about it when I got the time. And so he heard about this when the party did. Maybe they were talking about it in an inn, and he was eavesdropping or something. And so now the big plot point between the realization that of the heart of the pyramid and needing to free is all of a sudden we're in a race. Someone else that isn't the party is after this chalice. And for good or evil purposes, the party wants this chalice, or at least wants to protect it against this other person. The theft of the Sulliferous Chalice stops the Vaporoids, who disappear, saving the crew, but they wonder why and investigate. Ah, okay, so something like that. So maybe. Okay, if we do that, let's go back. A local, somewhat infamous rogue in town is rumored to have a new relic. Now we come over here, ending midpoint 3. How do we get from Kame's mentor breaks into the pyramid and begins a dungeon crawl to the big fight? Well, we're getting towards the end. Do we want a story of redemption? Do we want this to be something like Kame's mentor dies, getting the party on the path to follow and recover the chalice as he hopes to, quote, at least have done one thing right in my life. I'm sorry, Kame. The main produce, I think we were saying, was... we're partially basing it, I think, on the Nile River. So there were reeds for things like papyrus. There was the mallow plant that grows in marshes. So you have this marshmallow substance. Because it's a place of high fashion, probably a lot of cotton, probably a lot of rice, and other grains that flourish in water. Is there anything existing in the PC's backstory that might help explain? Well, there's Kame's mentor that's in a backstory. This could also lead to unlock the pyramid as maybe a dungeon crawl. That could heavily rely on the high religion skills that the party members have. Because it's been locked up for so long, no one really knows what it's about. So you have to interpret the hieroglyphs, so to speak. Possibly Flat Hat. That's not a bad alternative thought. Although I think we're sticking with a thief has stolen it for his own good, and maybe, I don't know, maybe he thinks that he can sell it in the next town over and get away with it. I'm open-minded. So now we've come this way. Let's go over here and we get, starting midpoint 4. The combat and fog ends when the storm is suddenly ceased, causing a mixed blessing of no more damage to the ship, but it is adrift in the swamp and washes up on a remote shore. The party has to navigate back to the city, which then leads to them having gone to the city and interacted to maybe go get help to bring repair supplies back for the ship, and leave the construction of the ship to the sailors, since they're kind of the expendable crew that can go out and do that. They've explored and interacted more with the city. Now we come over here and we flank it, starting midpoint 5. The lake is slowly crystallizing into solid salt crystals, or a sheet of solid salt. This or sheet of solid salt radiating out of the pyramid. This spells disastrous consequences for everyone in Gumbolia. This is then leads to the realization of the heart of the pyramid and why it's important. We then come over here to starting midpoint 6. After the realization of the heart of the pyramid, why it's important, the group researches and equips itself after securing some backing and patronage from representatives of Heavensigh. Then a local, somewhat infamous rogue in town is rumored to have a new relic after the party has and is intending to go after it for his own reasons. So maybe they learned that just now, but it's already too late. And in this case, we actually make that a point. Starting midpoint 7, the party learns that it was actually too late, and the chalice has already been stolen, but need to learn about the interior of the pyramid and what, if anything, can be done to replace the chalice or to find clues on how to end the saline curse. That then leads to the true midpoint of needing Kame's mentor to help out. Oh, they're like the Nazis in the Lost Ark in Indiana Jones? Gotcha. So perhaps the rival city's team gets the chalice first and his team steals it or fights for it? That could be. So in this case then, Kame's mentor breaks into the pyramid and begins the dungeon crawl. So now we go to... we go here. Whoops. Ending midpoint 4. Inside the pyramid, they learn that another team based on garbage, evidence, bodies, etc. had... Wait, no, hang on. That was the help from Kame's mentor. She doesn't like them. Take a shine, especially the pyramid. Okay, in that case... if we're going to have a bit of a get-together, why don't we have the midpoint be this? Not tiny bonks. Ooh. Alright, here we go. They need the help of Kame's mentor who's in jail. So here, whoops. Friend reunites with his estranged daughter and has a bonding moment, as well as learns of an outside force from whence she came, was interested in the pyramid and what was inside. This leads to some more investigation. Then we break out to free the breakout heist to free the mentor. A three-way final fight. Plot twist: the rival team was fooled into taking a fake chalice by the thief, and the fake can only remove salt from blood. Ooh. Y'all have your thinking caps on. ending midpoint 3. Navigate the salty terrain and unusual monsters, salinoids, that are now roaming the crusted over swamp that's expanding. Then Kame's mentor breaks into the pyramid, begins the dungeon crawl. So that was... Actually, that was 5. Ending midpoint 6. It is learned that a rival team from the same city that Friend's daughter warned about had reached the chalice first, as evidenced by bodies and other things. However, it can't be denied that at some point in time, the local thief was also in here, perhaps working with them, question mark? Then at that point, Kame's mentor dies, getting the party on the path. So what happens here? Ending midpoint 7. And here we can get into kind of a three-way battle. It is learned that Friend's daughter is the one who led the raid for the chalice. And requires pursuit. This causes another moral conundrum, as Friend must put down or otherwise subdue his own child, his own estranged child, for whom he was trying to make the world better, to recover the chalice. In the fight, the daughter is, we'll just put defeated in some way. But the local thief obtains it and runs back to Heavensigh / the pyramid. And this leads to the final fight. Hey Derek, good to see you. One PC is history, should be useful. Yep. Yeah, and we can go through... remember, we're making the outline right now. As we're making the outline, we can go through, and then we can add details like ornaments on a Christmas tree when we do things like look at the party breakdown and say, okay, religion, what are some other things they're strong at? We want to make a challenging section. Oh, Santa, did you get a tear from that twist that we just put in there? Pi, this midpoint method is really effective. I'm glad that you like it. Yeah, and so here you have a man who has only met his daughter once or twice and is out in the world trying to make it a better place. He has a reunification with her, and she warns him that there's another group, right? And so this whole time she was trying to warn him, like, stay away, don't get involved, Dad, don't get involved. And yet Dad is involved. Dad has to get this back because the entirety of Gumbolia, let alone Heavensigh that sits in the middle of the region, is threatened. And now this father is facing having to kill his own daughter to preserve the thousands of people who make a living and a home and have their own children in Gumbolia. I'm no good at planning adventures for D&D, never played before. You don't have to play D&D to plan adventures, Fnog. And so here we have a splitting, and yet look. So we have a splitting on bitter terms. Salt, right? Here we have a splitting on bitter terms. Now compare that. What happened with Kame? What happened with Kame and her mentor? Kame hated her mentor, and probably with very good cause. In fact, Kame is probably the one who got him put in jail in Heavensigh. And yet his skills were needed to get into the pyramid. And over the course, he actually proved that, yes, you know what? He's probably a big old beehole, okay? He's probably just a crass, rude man, but oh, he has the skills that are needed. And yet he proves himself because he says, you know what? I want to earn redemption. I don't want to do this anymore. I see how you've been affected. I also hate being in jail. I want to help. In fact, I want to... Look at it this way. I want to help these people because even if I go back to my old ways, I can't go back to my old ways. The only way I know how to live if the entire place is turned into a big salt crystal. Let me help you. Break me out, Kame. Hate me all you want. That's fine. Walk behind me with your dagger point in my back. That's fine. Get me out of here. I want to do something. He helps. Then as the party is putting the clues together, he's doing this investigation because he wants to continue to help. And he comes back and he has a knife in his back, but it's not Kame's. That knife belongs to Friend's daughter who put him down because he stumbled on the truth. And now Kame, perhaps having bittersweet. Boy, salt is really becoming a theme of what's going on here. Having bittersweet tears at the death of her mentor. Even if she's like, I was supposed to be the one to kill him. Not this harlot. But then they don't learn that it's the daughter until it comes to conflict time. Remember, it's all about respect. Now you need me, so now you owe me. Flat Hat says, ooh. Zolar Pie, I would number the entries differently. Yeah. That Zolar Pie, yeah, we can go back and renumerate them. But really, after we've done things this way, Zolar, we have our story. Right? Oh, Derek, what'd you burn yourself out on? Because now if we look, right, we had everything so obviously labeled. You know what we've just done? We have created level up milestones. This is the core event that must occur for the characters to get from level 1 to level 2, level 2 to level 3. And I'll tell you what, you want to do this because some people like starting their campaigns at level 3, so all characters have a chance to start playing in their archetype and not worry too much about level 1 or 2. What if we do this? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. We have just created a 20 level campaign. And I'll tell you what, even if you want to start at level 1 or 2, those tend to go more quickly anyway, even if you're playing with experience points. So 1 and 2 are, I mean, you could set up, you could, I don't know, have some, you know, some story build up or something, or you could include that in the 1, 2, 3 kind of like, you know, different sessions to catch people up. But we have just created the outline for a campaign that is going to take the characters, we could say from level 1 through level 20. We have incorporated aspects of them, their skills, their backgrounds, their bonds, their ideals, and their flaws. We have had action. We have had perhaps even romance, right? Because Chalet wants to get that notch on her bedpost of Kame's mentor, because I'm sure he's a very rakish rogue. Derek is interlinking 8 players' backstories, individual plots to the 7 main plots I'm running, while figuring out how to meld it in a way that keeps it uncomfortably close and personal. Got to about 30 to 35 pages of notes. Wow. 17 NPCs from character backgrounds. Nice. Only thing missing is a midpoint linked to joking or fun. Well, the joking or fun can be... because look, some of these points, they're a placeholder because we need them to be here and to do something. So we can add something here, Santa. They have explored and interacted with the city in Heavensigh after returning from ship duties, and maybe they have some fun in-town adventures. You can also use some foreshadowing. Okay, I see the milestones equal leveling, but there could be other events. Yes, exactly, Zolarpie. Look, just because we have the milestone, to go from level 9 to level 10, be a local, somewhat infamous rogue in town is rumored to have a new relic after the party has and is intending to go after it. That could be a session, 2 sessions, 3 sessions of social interaction, of exploration, maybe of even like a little mini dungeon delve as they try and break into the Thieves Guild to get this information. And so we have the main point, but how they get there is left to be a little loosey-goosey because you want to give agency to your players to decide where they want to go, how they want to get there, and what they want to do. Exactly, Flat Hat. Elven refugees. There's side plots. There's aspects of this place that we haven't specifically put into the goal of getting to the next level. So there's political intrigue. Look, the government is run by a plutocracy. They're monetarists. You want to rub elbows with people, especially in faith? That you could spend several sessions trying to butter up people to be patrons, to send you on this, to either get permission or equipment or both to go into this sealed pyramid that's already been broken into. We can have mercantile plots, right? We're tying in this rival city. We're tying in a rival city who, wants this chalice to try and either undermine Heavensigh or to improve their own lot. There's internal strife, which leads to anarchy. And so what this can also mean is, look, we're a bunch of just sort of like random people in the area. Why does anyone want our help? Well, look, the police are busy. The Wood Elves are a minority. They're refugees. And we have this ruler who's trying to be peaceful and fair, but there's internal strife. The government is fighting. What do we do about these refugees, let alone in the face of the crisis that there's this salt pack growing out of the pyramid and is threatening to take over the area? Well, who gets resources first? Right? Do the natives, do the gnomes get their rations before the elves do? Because the elves are newcomers here. Should they have to fend for themselves in this trying time? There is so much political, financial, religious intrigue of rogues guilds, like not just singular, but several. The one in Heavensigh and the one in this neighboring town. We could go and flesh out, what if this neighboring town is in the mountainous area that Shocktop and Summerteeth are? See, we've now just linked two regions together, and we don't know too much about that other region. And that's fine. We don't have to. Salt merchants are throwing bribes around because they're happy. This has helped me to create my own homebrew campaign. That's excellent, Sansfire. That's exactly what I want to have happen. I want to inspire you all and give you tools, different tool sets that you can use. Because some of you might just think action, reaction, and you make a linear thought. Some of you can take Derek's approach. Derek makes a scattergram as he physically on paper links ideas and thoughts and peoples. It's one of those diagrams that looks like a squish spider, like you have the circle and you have the legs coming off of it. Derek thinks in like cloud thinking like that, at least as he's presented it to me. Some of you may do better by just saying, okay, I have these big ideas, and so you put your big ideas down on paper, digital or physical, and now just connect the dots. What's the midpoint between your two big ideas? Where does something pivot? Where does something peak? Where does something dip? What is one thing that happens between A and C? What's your B? Okay, now how do we get from C to F? E. You got to have a midpoint D. And so all you do is you break it down step by step, and you start in the middle and you push out, almost like a glacier or ice, right? Ice going into a cement crack and pushing out. The midpoint method develops your story from the center out until pretty soon your rock solid beginning and end, who we very poetically had close ties, right? This campaign ends kind of similarly to how it began. But now we've created an entire story by pulling. I'm trying to back up here as best I can. By pulling apart, by inserting relevant content that intrinsically guarantees that you get from point A to point C via point B. A thought web. Okay, got it, Derek. It's a horrible domino chain that knocks into strings that knocks more dominoes, and all hell breaks loose as you realize yeah. Strings and dominoes. Yes, full circle, Santa. And isn't that fun and poetic when that happens? And of course now, the party members here, they're sounds like a strip club. Strings and dominoes. There you go, Derek. There's some content for you to put in. Strings and Dominoes is the local gentleman's club in your setting, right? Zulerpie, excluding some side quests, how long would it take these 5 PCs to complete this campaign's main quest as outlined? Oof. There's really no way to quantify that, Zuler. I mean, what if we could lay it out? And suddenly 2 players can't make it. Everyone still votes, yeah, let's continue on because the other players, we already know what they're going to be doing, and so the session, you play through 6 hours of a session, but you only get 2 hours of content done. It's very difficult to say. And sometimes your PCs are the most efficient machine, everything clicks, and all of a sudden, you've gotten through like 2 side quests you expected to take a month before they reach the actual milestone, and in one session, they're tickling that milestone. It's very difficult to predict. At least if you want to give your players some agency in the world. Metal and Lace is the name of your club. Santa the Gleaming Demon, House of the Underground Gentlemen's Club, Strings and Dominoes. Sure. We can incorporate Strings and Dominoes in then. Sometimes you're like me, very slow burn because you want them to sweat over that Sword of Damocles just dangling over. And other times, you know what? And other times, hey, we could save Strings and Dominoes for something else. Maybe that's the bar over over by Shocktop Mountain. Yeah, and other times you say, you know what? We're gonna do overland travel. We're gonna have a skill challenge. Your characters have been traveling for a month on the Oregon Trail. I'm not interested in running every little hunting, every little, you know, dysentery outbreak and whatever. We're going to do this through a skill challenge, and yes, a month, 2 months have passed in game time, but within the course of a session, you've had a skill challenge, maybe a combat, and there you go. No, this is definitely not a one-shot campaign. It's one-shot in the fact that we're making the campaign on the fly this week for these characters. It doesn't have to be specifically, though, because look, if you all wanted to take this concept, you can easily massage some details around and still, and you, instead of making it the daughter of a character, it's just a beloved NPC of some kind. So it's one shot in its creation. It's not one shot in its implementation. What I hope to do every week is, with your all's help and input and creativity, to both teach and learn from you all and give you content that you can be proud of in participating in. And if you want to run this campaign, I don't know, has this inspired any of you? Do any of you want to run a campaign like this with this setting? Well, congratulations. I'm going to upload it all on our Discord, and you can download it and use it as you want. Have fun with it. You know, customize it to what you want it to be. Because it's an outline, it's very flexible. And then you can put the minutia. If you want to use experience points, then you plan out the encounters. You make up these creatures of the vaporoids and the solenoids. You can do all this, and then it becomes your campaign, not the channel's campaign or my campaign, because you actually put the meat on the bones, the skin. You chose the colors of the eyes in this beautiful flesh golem of a campaign that you are creating. I simply provided you a diagram to follow. You're the mad scientist that makes it come to life. You and your 5 Igors at the table. And so now in retrospect, because Pi, you've been with us most of the week, Santa, Flat Hat, all of you have been with us, if not every day, I think even counting Tuesday, but at least since Wednesday, since you all have been here. And for those of you who are even just lurking, if you've been here now for a while, have you felt like you've come on an entire journey, just in the course of a week, with our characters, our map, even tonight, going through the party process? Do you feel like you've been on a journey of exploration, education, inspiration? Do you feel like you've accomplished something this week when it comes to role-playing? Can you reflect back, and even though it was a couple days ago, can you say, oh, yeah, I really remember that Gold Dragonborn, that was really neat. Oh, there's this one cool thing that happened, and then the next character, and suddenly you've been taken on a journey that's capped off with a 20 level campaign idea. All from some simple randomly generated characters and a randomly generated map. And don't forget that. Our characters were the result of dice rolls. Our map was a result of dice rolls. And a little bit of, creativity, a little bit of plot putty to fill in some gaps. Isn't it amazing what happens if you just open yourself up to this? And you let it flow, you trust your gut and your instinct, and you tell yourself there's no bad ideas. There might be weird ideas, and if that's the case, use those weird ideas later, because they're probably going to be really cool. Santa, ever since I found your channel, I truly felt implicated in the process. I've learned a lot. I've discovered new ways to process the knowledge available. Pi says parts of a story. That's for another question. I'll go back to that. Santa, I've been having trouble sleeping lately, and you inspire me to make use of my time by thinking, creating, and listening. Thank you. You are very welcome. Je suis drôle. I'm happy. So Pi asked, do DMs sometimes use dice rolls to determine paths of story in a campaign? Say whether or where some monster might appear? Yes. For parts of a story, for a random encounter chart, sometimes even just to kind of intimidate the players a little bit, they'll roll a die and consult. Derek, as he posts over here, Derek uses high or low method. If the situation has an outside influence and I'm not sure which way it could go, I'll offer the player a choice. If they guess right, the situation goes in their favor. If not, it goes against them. Police response times, if the dragon is in his lair, was there a witness, etc. Oh, funny. I'm sorry. It's joyeux. Je suis joyeux. Yeah, droll is funny. Well, I'm glad that I do entertain you that way too, Santa. Awkward. Have you seen me? Do you know that the type of awkward people that play role-playing games, Santa? Come on. Forget about it. That's Italian for forget about it. Nerd squared, yep. And you know what? While this is the final broadcast of this week, Sunday and Monday, and I'm always around on Discord, I'll be working on the channel. When we come back on Tuesday, you know what? Santa, Zullerpie, Sansfire, Derek, who's been around forever, all of you out there lurking, we're going to do it again. And it's going to be a brand new journey. We're going to start off on Tuesday with session 1 of the role-playing game. And hopefully I'm not too awkward in presenting it that way. And then on Wednesday, the cycle begins anew. 2 new characters. Wednesday, a character and a map. Thursday, we're going to finish the party. Or wait. I'm sorry, it was Wednesday. Wednesday was 2 characters. Thursday is the character in the map. Friday, we're going to finish the party. And on Saturday, we're going to have a completely new story presented in a different way. And we're going to have fun. We're going to make in-jokes in our chat. We are going to... Pi!
But this stream immensely. Keep up the good work. But I can't always make the live stream.
I didn't have my headphones on, so I missed the glorious German text-to-speech. Zullerpie, thank you very much for that. I'm glad you've enjoyed the stream immensely. Now, if you can't always make it, Zullerpie, I do save video on demand, so you can go and watch it later. And I will be uploading all of this to YouTube, and it's going to be up on our YouTube as well. Santa says, all I see is a bunch of cool guys caring about crafting cool and entertaining stories. Derek, I come across as confident, then put me in a situation where someone wants to give me a hug and I just lose it and become a shy, withdrawn guy that I am. Flat Hat Nerd Fact, Joyeuse was the name of Charlemagne's sword. Sean Meredith, I'm new to D&D, but it's really, really interesting to me so far. I'm really happy then, Sean. Are you super new? Like, have you never played D&D before? Or have you been playing around? Maybe you're in your first campaign and you've played a couple sessions. How new are you, Sean? Sansfire, also Joyeuse can control the weather. I love the session 0. Oh, I'm glad. Oh, okay, so you have been watching them? And now, when I say I put stuff on YouTube, I only record the first 2 parts. So if we make 2 characters, I record the character creation, and then I stop the recording and the break and everything and coming back, some chit-chat. And then I record the character creation of the second character, or the map. And then anything we do afterwards, I don't record, because it's important to me that we do things in this channel that are just for us.